Do we have the whole chamber with us today?
No, the chamber and the employees, department heads.
Okay, the priority goal of this workshop is to help us plan our goals and how we're going to achieve them for next year. And you should all have a document in your email talking about the work plan and what we need to get done and where we stand on things. And I'm sorry it's not printed, but you never know, it could be. One of our big goals, well, I'm sorry, I don't really know how I'm supposed to start this one. Have you had time to read the work plan notes
That Joan sent out?
that Joan sent us?
Yeah, I printed them.
Excuse me?
I printed them and looked them over.
That was good, you're smart. We need to keep our tasks on goal for next year. They don't have to have specific dates, but a general idea of when we're going to do them. And you'll see on the, here are some of the tasks: the alley improvement, the high top seating, improved parking signage, and increased plantings. All of those are clearly marked for when they're going to happen, the cost of them, and what the volunteer hours that are needed. And a lot of it is moving along nicely. Does anybody have any questions about our goals? Or what we need to accomplish this year?
How were they determined?
How are we what?
How were the goals determined?
They're determined by the needs of the downtown. We can certainly add any of them, but it's a combination of, hi. Got them?
Some of them that ran out of paper, Joe, was getting the rest of them. Just a combination of things going on.
Okay.
We'll just start this here. Val, do you have your stuff? Yeah. You printed?
Except for that front one.
Oh, okay.
I must have left that on my office printer, so
Okay.
they'll find it this morning and be like, oh,
This is going to make it all a lot easier.
Well, but at least it's something to write on, and so we can adjust.
So as you can see, here are the goals, and they're separated by the general four corners of the Main Street program.
And here's the rest of them.
Got one?
I did.
What do you need?
I passed mine on, so you.
Oh, sure. Yes. I don't need it. Please.
So let's just run over them kind of quickly. There's in the category of outreach. One of the things we've worked on is implementing the Downtown Neighbors Program. Does anyone have questions about that, or?
I don't think Rob, you and Bob and I, we didn't discuss that. We did for orientation, because I called them later. And they said, well, we're available tomorrow. And then I called, Rob said, I'm available tomorrow morning. And I called Bob, and he said, well, I can do it tomorrow morning. I said, well, that's what Rob just said, so so we still need to meet with Marty.
Yeah.
So maybe after the meeting.
I don't know what it is. Can we just get an explanation of what it is?
Okay, let's just go through these. The Downtown Neighbors Program, as Clawson is a very small city and a very small downtown, we're doing everything we can to include the people, the neighboring businesses who are out of the DDA proper, to have them be part of our events and be part of the whole downtown, so we're a cohesive community. We are, of course, mandated only to support the downtown. So to that end, the downtown neighbors who have chosen to join us pay a fee to be included in everything from the directory, Clawson directory that gives links to the websites and directions and other things to find all the businesses in Clawson, which has been a very well-used tool. So it's just a matter of trying to get those people to be part of the downtown as much as we can. Yes, sir.
How many neighbors do you have? How many neighbors?
It's new, so we only have like 5. So again, on here, one of the things, it's okay to have these things stay and go over, years. We pick, so on the neighbors program, it's really just going to be, instead of implement, something like grow the program, increase,
Well, we've started to implement it, we just need to continue to do it.
right. So we would, for this one, I think we're just gonna change that word and say that we're going to maintain and grow.
Let's just call it grow.
Grow.
How is that different from the chamber?
It's just part of the Clausen DEA approach.
Partly it's related to events, correct?
Events.
In order to
Largely related to
participate in the
events and
events
to our
that the
directory.
DDA runs at a sponsorship level, where there used to be a line here between what we could offer. And there still is a line internally, correct? Like, we cannot do some of the Oakland County and the facade improvement grants. Like, there are certain things
Right,
that
yeah,
have
there are
to stay with TIF funding for the DDA.
Right.
But then there's like a blurred line where, we can invite others in partly as a DDA fundraising effort, right?
That's an
In theory, it
example,
could
Joe.
also be residents. If you want to support our mission, you could donate and get your little sticker and be a formal downtown neighbor. But then also, to participate in events and other ways
So
to
for
support what we're
businesses,
doing.
if they're a downtown neighbor, they'll go on our online directory. We have an online business directory which gives their business, their location, all of their social media sites, links, driving links. So that is really what the business numbers find a little more helpful, because there isn't something like that. So it puts them on our interactive directory, which the people that we have that have joined see as a benefit.
It also enables us, because our district is small, for instance, the barbecue restaurant is right across the street from the line. So if we have an event, they can be part of it and not be left out just because of the geographic boundaries of the DDA.
When we had other people outside the DDA take part in events before, they would pay. If you're a neighbor, you're not paying to come down and take part, put up a tent, take part in an event.
You're just not allowed to spend money, DDA money on those.
Right, which is why they pay.
Right, DDA money has to stay in the DDA, but
Right.
by charging them a membership fee, then they can be included in all of those things. And it's just a way to be inclusive and, try to bring in the whole community. It took us a while to figure out how to do it without violating our mandate to stay within our orders.
I'm just curious, why couldn't that partnership be made with the chamber and operate in the same fashion? Because it feels like we're just replicating.
The chamber
same
doesn't
effort.
offer the directory that we maintain.
And is there a reason why we just can't make that happen?
I think that that's something we could certainly talk about, Joe, but this would not be the forum for it. That it'd be-
Absolutely, it is because.
Well, if we want to do,
It's a workshop.
it is a workshop, but if we want to do a highlight of all the things that we're trying to accomplish, that is something that as we work on the downtown neighbors, we can certainly discuss. And we're happy to work with the chamber on anything that we can. But I just don't want to get bogged down in the very first point as we're going to. I'm hoping to kind of hit the highlights today and then figure out who wants to work on which parts of it. So, yes, sir,
What's the cost to be a neighbor? Thank you.
per year.
Yeah. And like Valerie was explaining, it's also for residents. If they want to, it's a fundraising effort for us. So a resident can be a downtown neighbor also, and we will list them on our website as, downtown neighbors, and hopefully get them then to want to volunteer for some of our things, keeps them a little more engaged.
Whether they pay or not, or the downtown, can they still volunteer?
Absolutely.
Anybody can volunteer.
Yeah, we'll never turn away a volunteer.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Sure.
Your website says it's $150.
I'm going with the website. We
The
need the money.
website is correct. I stand corrected. Thank you.
It is a nominal amount of money, though, for a business to be included in all the rest of it. And by no means are we trying to fight with the chamber about this. We're happy to include them or do anything that seems appropriate. On outreach, maintaining that interactive business directory is a big project as the businesses come and go and things change, to keep it up to date so that when people are coming to Clausen, they can find find all the people. Another big goal for this year is increased social media reach. Need to work more on our marketing this year, how we're pushing Clausen, and how we are getting everything out to them.
So I was looking at so many pages, right? So on the event worksheets, they were told basically who's working on what committee or whatever. So social media is you and Charlie.
Pretty much that's what it's been, yeah.
And I know you guys are both extremely busy. Charlie, I don't know how you do all the things you do. And then like do extras like this on top of it. Kudos to you because you do a great job, both of you. But would you think about considering getting maybe a student that is studying marketing or a high school student who could be your hands and feet?
We would absolutely be thrilled to do that. We have been
We had a
able.
couple of influencers reach out and do little spots. What's that girl's name that did the
one that was trying to build a business.
Yeah, so we had a few of those that we recruited to get another voice into the social media. That's always important because like I have a tone, she has a tone on social media, so it's
And
important
trying to
that we
keep
do
it
that.
consistent.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely open.
But we would absolutely be thrilled to do that if we could find one.
Yeah.
I only have Brandon at the city, at which collaborating resources, right?
To that- to
I'm
that
not sure
point,
if that's within the scope,
Was
but.
Brian able to meet the diamond? Okay, so Brian did come to help support the diamond Clausen event, so we are doing our best to throw our weight behind and support.
Can I ask another question about that? Do you send out, like, if you have a message you want to go out, would you send it to your members to say this is what we have, and then they can then push out stuff from their platforms?
We do that with events and stuff and things that are important. Yeah, we do ask them to use theirs because they're as interested in getting the word out as anybody.
Right.
They'll have a copy of what we send, or most people will just copy it. But yeah, absolutely, we do ask them to do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions on outreach or? Placemaking, the streetscape, which is something we work on constantly. The alley development is just about done, but we're wrapping that up.
Well, wrapping that, we kind of ran into a speed bump because Dennis was bought a building on the other side of the alley and is going to be making a window opening onto the alley, which affected the artwork. So that does need to be done, and hopefully we were all set to go again, and it looked like he has moved that window a little bit. So anyway, it is still on board to be done. And we have the other part that the Margulises are still holding to go up.
What is it?
What
The
is
heart
it?
artwork.
Oh, the heart thing? Yeah.
I know.
That alley has just been, gestation on that alley has been endless.
Yeah.
But it looks good, and the tables look good, people using it. So as soon as Weiss gets their window in, we can finally complete the alley. I got the sign up, looks pretty nice. Another constant project is improving our parking signage.
That I am meeting with Oakland County and on additional signage, what it could look like, and we'll be bringing that back to you to get whoever wants to work on. Right now, we need to decide on, are these things or do we need to add more things? Then, if we're good with this, then we will figure out who wants to work on what and create actual timelines of what needs to be done. You know, does something need to go out, quotes? What's going to happen with that? Then, once we know what things cost, then it can be determined, is this something that we can follow through this year? You know, now, because we have our budget passed, but now look at what projects we want to do, figure out what the costs are for them, and then which ones, is it a doable?
And it's certainly possible to have goals on this that we can't attempt to fill this year, that we hope we'll get to when we can afford it or have the power to do it.
So Oakland County is putting together like a proposed scope or recommendations for what they think that how we should.
Yes. and what they could look like. We were looking at potential signage in the parking lots bigger, and maybe a three-cornered one, so it would go around those poles, the big utility poles out there, so you could see them from whatever angle was one of the things considered. So, yeah, well,
I have a question. So last time I was here, we talked about emptying the trash on I think it's 14 Mile Line. Noble Fish. I can do it. Like I have people that work with me. If I'm on the street, they'll do it. But I need the key. I actually need the keys to open them. I'm not gonna like, you know what I'm saying? So if you guys could, if that, like, not even give, just have me come pick it up. I don't know, once or twice a week. Like,
Who has those keys?
we have DPW has several, because each can came with keys.
Are they all the same lock?
Yeah.
so,
But yeah, you gotta get a key, I'll check online.
yeah, because I think it's just on my side. I realize the other thing, Noble Fish is pretty busy, you know, and they do a lot of business. You see how much business they do. It's all carry out. And by the end of like 4 days, 3 days, they're all full.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just letting you guys know. Whenever you guys figure that out.
So I appreciate it. I'll
Yeah.
let you know tonight, I think it's in the truck.
And when it fills up, I can actually take a full dolly cart and get them all out of
Sure,
there.
that'd be great, thank you.
Yes.
That'd make you a hero.
No, sure.
And then plantings are always an issue in the downtown to try to keep it looking vibrant. We've got a wonderful group of volunteers who are taking care of the plantings, headed by Kathy. But we need to keep figuring out what we can plant and how we can do it, possibly add more planters throughout the downtown.
I think, yeah, plantings, it's more planters that we were looking at, buying a couple more. I talked to Trevor the other day, they're making, once a month, they're filling those reservoirs. But I think we're probably gonna have to look, and Kathy's been, and Carol have been filling them in between times. So, we need to look at how, is there a business, is there somebody else that can help monitor the water and those when, make sure that the reservoirs don't go dry.
That's pretty much like May through September that they need water though, and then they put like branches and stuff in it. and-
Right, yeah, we empty the water out, reservoirs out, and then just put things in for the winter.
Do we need to put antifreeze or anything in this filter?
Huh?
Antifreeze or anything in them?
No, no, they have to be
They're okay
drained.
in the winter when they're drained.
Once they're drained, they're fine.
They're nice, and they seem to be working, because everything stays.
Yeah, it looks
fine.
really good.
It's great.
And then in the social district, we're still talking about looking for more seating and gathering spots as the social district continues to improve and people are walking about more. So the questions there are money, placement, and also whether any local businesses want to provide seating in front of their businesses.
I think right next door to mine would be the perfect place, Fairway Tile. I'm sorry, maybe I should have waited to say that, but the guy next door I'm cool with, so I'm pretty sure he would okay with it. Right, so.
Well, the trick is we have to find a place that we can put it that doesn't interfere with snow removal.
Right.
But that's just an ongoing thing that we're always working on. Another, in the promotion area, we have a small but vibrant collection of annual events. I think most of you know what they are. And they continue to be popular. They all, don't want to say they make money exactly, but they don't cost us any money thanks to sponsorships and volunteers. The big deal with the promotions is to continue to maintain our annual events and find more volunteers, which is probably the biggest challenge facing the DDA is looking for more volunteers. And again, in the promotion, as in the outreach thing, we need to improve our marketing strategies. Dine Clausen is absolutely growing nicely, and Charlie's done a magnificent job of bringing all the restaurants together to work as a unit. Clausen's actually starting to be known for restaurants. Destination retail. One of the interesting things about this town is so much of the retail is unusual and a destination. We have a magic shop, we have a rock shop, we have things that aren't in every community, so people have a real reason to come to Clausen. We just need to explain to them what all these things are. And the services. We have the best shoe repair place in town. We have a lot of things that bring people in. Our trick is going to be to figure out how to get them in here and have them do more than just the one thing Have them not just buy their shoelaces and leave.
I agree.
One thing that we can look at for, because we had a couple people on the board that thought that they might be able to help with marketing strategies, but it really didn't work. Time-wise, trying to get it done while they're working their jobs. So I've asked Oakland County to look at some, who have other communities used for marketing. And maybe we want to look at using our tech visit this year. This Oakland County, Main Street gives us, once a year you get a tech visit.
What's the value of that, John?
$7,000. But we could use that money towards hiring somebody to give us a real strategy, something actionable, steps to use to make sure that we are marketing our downtown to its best benefit.
What is the tech visit, what is it supposed to be, what does it encompass, other than $7,000 that goes in?
It is for any object that we identify that is our most pressing need. Last year, it went towards the update of the master plan.
We've used it for parking studies.
Yeah, we used it for a parking study. We've used it for the streetscape improvement plan. I have to go through the list, but those are the ones that come up right away. Usually we put them towards, there's a big expense, and we put that money towards it so that we can't afford it.
So you can basically utilize it for anything you choose, even though it says tech visit, right?
Yeah.
So no one's coming here to give us a technical,
No,
No,
right.
we don't have to use it.
operations.
We don't have to use it to update the
Okay,
computers.
that's good, because it sounds like it's an informational thing, educational, informational thing, so that's great, it's just dollars.
It's a funny name, but it's a very handy program.
It could be, if you wanted somebody to come in, you're flying somebody in, and you just really want to hold this big meeting, you could use it for that. It's, again, what we identify that we need most, where that money is helpful.
So, part of the plan moving forward, and then we're not talking about like the details, but part of the plan moving forward would be a brilliant idea of incorporating Brandon from the city and Maureen from the chamber to help you with the marketing, right? Like as we collaborate all of those businesses together, all of the entities together to create a stronger overall for everybody. That would be a way to utilize resources and, piggyback on what people already have and what's already in existence, just for thoughts.
And
In addition to using that for, if you can have someone that can maybe do another life, but if you could look at it in a way that we have resources available to us within reach, and then we find ways to piggyback on those and then build on top of that, right? So we're not duplicating something that we potentially could share already.
And we want to make
make
sure, because we are for the downtown, that we create a strategy that works for those businesses downtown, like Dine
No,
Class.
I'm not saying we don't go outside of that. Of course, that's going to be your goal, right? Our goal, that would be the goal, is to focus on the DDA. But if we utilize resources that are available through our partnership organizations, then we already have a pretty strong foothold, and then we can just take those
It would
extra
be great
dollars
to
to build
use-
on top of it, is my thought. Not to start over, not to reinvent the wheel on something that probably already exists, that we can couple with. Right?
In some cases, that could be true. But we,
Just to clarify, like, what is Brandon's role in the city? He's a social media manager, or he's a marketing? I
He's
don't know
our
who Brandon is.
communication and economic development specialist.
Coordinator.
Yes.
Okay.
He does our website, does all the Facebook posts. He's been instrumental in developing content for the infrastructure improvement bond campaign, information campaign. So,
Newsletter.
newsletter, yes, the new newsletter, the Pulse.
Oh, yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
So when we figure out how we're going to brand and market these specific areas for the downtown, certainly share that with everybody, because you want to get the word out, right?
But also, they have platforms that we can utilize. I mean,
I think we need to
for-
look at specifics and figure out how to make it work. 'Cause I think the concept is great.
The concept would be to kind of like coordinate everything, coordinate, communicate, collaborate, and have really Brandon bring all this together so there's one-stop shop. The development of the downtown, the development of the community has one source of input, output, and everyone can go to that and understand what is happening in Boston. Whether it's
Except the
in
DDA still has to maintain its integrity as a standalone organization.
Not a problem.
So once we get our identity, I think part of what
But
this marching
to that point,
person.
you're not a standalone organization. You have your district and you have your TIP money,
Right.
but you rely exclusively on this staff to get things done, along with your volunteers. So that is probably one of the main things that gets lost in translation, at least since I've been here. And so I'm here, staff is here to support and move forward in the collaborative effort. But I think what has been lost in the past is.
Yes, ma'am? I didn't want to interrupt.
What's been lost in the past is that the siloing of things is not productive collective community. And what I'm trying to bring, and I think what the mayor's trying to bring, is the greater umbrella so that each board does have its own integrity, but there is a support mechanism from the administration to have it all unified and coordinated.
And if Brandon were working on a project for them, he'd be working on a project for them. Like, he wouldn't be conflicted, you'd be utilizing the resources of Brandon to accomplish your goals, correct? That would be.
Absolutely. I mean, the DDA is part of the city of Boston. Part
Just
of-
like
It is.
police comes to an event and DPW comes to an event, it'd be a similar type thing, just utilizing one of their resources to accomplish your goals.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Chief Bowes from Clausen PD. For those of you that I've never met before, I think everybody's faces look familiar, but I just wanted to take a brief opportunity to touch base on something while you guys were talking about community events. There has been a lot of changes through Homeland Security when it comes to implementing plans to create a safe environment for large events. So with that being said, I'm required as the emergency manager for the city to create incident action plans that are submitted to the Oakland County Emergency Operations Center. In order to properly do that and make sure that everybody that visits our city is safe, I need to know about events coming to the community at least 120 days in advance. So since taking this position as police chief about a year ago, I haven't really had a lot of communication with the DDA when there's major events coming up. Obviously, I've been a member of the police department for almost 20 years, so I'm familiar with a lot of the events that you do. But moving forward, I would like to please ask for diligent and open communication far in advance of all of these wonderful large events you bring to the city, so that I can make sure that the proper details are included in the incident action.
Why don't we get you the event schedule for next year as it stands right now?
Perfect.
We should be able to get that immediately. And I wasn't aware that you needed, the 100.
Yeah.
But we're happy to give you absolutely anything. And if you or a member of your staff would like to come to any of the meetings when we're planning events to make sure that whatever we're doing is correct, we would be delighted to make sure that we're conforming and make your job as easy as possible.
Great. Who is, Joan, who's the main point of contact that I should?
I am.
Joan is.
Okay, great, thank you.
But we'll get you the event list for this year or for next year and this year, as we know it, and then keep you updated as things change. But it's pretty static.
There's nothing new this year.
I mean, I can
Same
pick
ones.
up the events from your webpage. I guess that's not my point. I would like some open and diligent communication on a regular basis regarding the major events because I need the details for them.
We'd be delighted.
I think
and then let's-
our major events are still going to be the cinema and Clausen Fest.
And I guess I should clarify for just operational purposes, a larger event that we need to evaluate whether incident action plans need to be developed for is anything that's going to bring 200 people to the city. That's not our normal business operation. So just kind of as a rule of thumb. Also, I don't mean to be rude, but our coffee with the cops starts at 8:30 today, so I am going to step out if anybody doesn't have any questions for me. And I invite you all to visit us at Cave if you'd like. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. I think we can make that happen pretty quickly and easily.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks. Okay. And then long-term planning. Parking, which, as we know, is always an issue. We continue to work on that. Public amenity policy, do you want to talk about that, Joan?
Ben, is that something you want to help with that? It was something that came up in the update of the master plan. One of the things was public amenities and public art. And I think working with planning commission, we can start, we've gathered some information to get a policy together, but it is not quite gotten there.
Yeah, I definitely have information pulled somewhere, in my computer, from other cities on what they've done when they've done Euro programs, public art, guidelines for how to implement that. And we could pull that out to talk about it.
So that will be one of the things that we'll actually make a work plan on and see who wants to be part of that. We had talked about members of the planning commission, trying to get some local artists, different people to help develop a policy.
And landscaping maintenance is a continuing battle, but I think we kind of covered that a little earlier. And then we have one other big project coming up, which is a succession plan to figure out, should Joan choose to leave us, how would we replace her, what her job would look like. We've gotten some input from Oakland County, from Annika, who I was hoping would be here today, but we're starting to put that together to define the job and get ready should we have to make a search.
We will be making a search, because I will be retiring, just kind of a specific date, but will be the next coming year. And I did get today's information from National Main Street through Annika yesterday for succession planning. Kind of lays out all the many things, kind of a checklist, because I've got 18 years of stuff on my computer. I need to toss out some of the things that are no longer valid. I'm not going to leave somebody with a mess of stuff they don't need. So all kinds of little things that need to be gone through that will be taken off. And talking
She's going to leave a clean campground, shall we say.
Yeah. And getting information from other communities, pulling that together on salaries and benefit packages. So that will be brought back once we get that all together.
The question I have, Joan, I greatly appreciate you telling us that you're going to be leaving the next year. So one thing I think we should always look at is, if we bring someone on, I guess I'd be inclined to want to bring someone on before she leaves. When people talk about, extra expense, I think that's trivial with the amount of knowledge that she.
I think you're exactly right.
I think you'd want at least a month or 6 weeks or whatever the case may be, and start the search early, but there really needs to be, I don't want to see her walk out the door on Friday and then she gets hired on Monday.
Right.
No, you're absolutely right
It'd
about
be a
that.
bad thing for us.
And that is how I would approach it as well.
Good.
The trick is defining the job, really understanding what we're looking for and how we want to fund it and all the rest of it so that we can start the search. And then I would hope that they have a month together to
At least.
make the transition. That's the goal. There are also people who are interim managers if she gets hit by a truck. There are different ways to handle it, but the ideal would be exactly what you're suggesting.
We'll take the truck off the.
Yeah, but should there anyway.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of things that I'm doing just by rote now.
Absolutely.
And,
You're not
gonna- yeah.
But she is taking this time to start writing these things down and to make notes about the things that she does automatically, if she even notices she's doing them. But the things that she does all the time to make sure that the next person knows that they have to be done.
So is who makes the determination on the next, her replacement? Who would make that determination? And then also who would?
The board.
The DDA board.
And then you guys can decide if you want to pick a committee that's going to do that.
Well, and I'm also curious, I know I'm looking at succession planning in my firm as well, and it's tricky kind of because we initially think of replacing the person that exists. But in an organization, sometimes you want to grow and you haven't grown because we all tend to do the same thing all the time, every day. So as an organization, we need to look at what do we want the DDA to look like in the future? Are we comparing ourselves with other DDAs and what they have to offer? What kind of, not just in the compensation and benefit packages for a DDA director, but what are the roles and responsibilities as they integrate into our community, and how do we want to get bigger? Like what would our focus be? Because we have these, right, which are things we work on all the time, nothing wrong with them, but maybe there's something outside of there. Maybe a new vision would bring a need for additional responsibilities or for just a slightly slanted different scope of the DDA moving forward.
We are basing the job description not just on what Joan has been doing, but on the suggestions from Oakland County and from the Main Street organization and the things that they put together to help you fill that role. But then you're exactly right, I would expect whatever committee comes out of our board to head this search. Obviously, the executive committee will be on it, and any other volunteers will have input to other changes that we might want to make. And I would imagine at some point we'd have a visioning section to think about what are we not doing, what would we like to do. But it is our time to kind of realign, shall we say.
I would suggest talking to other DDAs, and I recently went to the MML conference, and during their conference, they have these highlights on communities, and then, so they show what they've done. One of the projects was Oak Park, the 9-mile corridor, and the art installations they put there, and it's amazing, right? Out of what was nothing. And I know it's not typically just their DDA, but from that, talking to their economic development coordinators and their DDA individuals, it's really interesting because people have different slants on what the DDA is, what the purpose is, and then how to address it within their community. And I just think maybe if the committee, when it takes place, looks at some of our local DDAs and see how they've grown. I was just at Farmington for a mayor's event a week ago, and they took us to their, what is a downtown now, which Farmington, I used to work in Farmington right off of downtown. There was no downtown, right? But it's gorgeous. Little pocket parks, art, and all kinds of things that we have in smaller capacities, but it was a vision and it was collaboration. And, they created something literally out of nothing. And that's what you guys do every day, I know, but different vantage points. It's just really...
That's absolutely on our list of things to do. We just haven't started the process yet because we've just made the decision to begin it.
As Main Street managers in Oakland County, we all meet frequently.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm aware of the things that Rochester's doing and what Kate's doing in Farmington. And yeah, we need to talk about who's doing what and what things, the Main Street phrase is rip off and duplicate.
R&D.
Yeah.
So yes, we're very happy to absorb anything we can from anybody and figure out how we can realign ourselves at this juncture. But you're absolutely right.
We've been a little bit stymied on taking, since the streetscape in 2016, we've been held back a little bit on taking on other big projects because we're still paying for that one until 2030. Then that bond drops off and we can look at bigger projects.
So what percentage of that is that project of our budget? What hefty percentage?
Hefty percentage. It's 80,000 on the bond payment, plus there's an interest payment, which is another 20. So it takes up the majority of our budget. So yeah, long-term planning is great. We can start looking, what do we want to look like in 5 years? And we can start looking at.
But we look at a lot of those projects and just sigh deeply because they've got much deeper pockets than we
Well,
are.
they're really clear, I will say. Everyone was very clear in all my conversations about that, which is not uncommon. They'll all say collaboration, relationships, thinking outside of the box, all number one, because the people who get money will tell you money is out there. You can get it. Understanding how to get it and you know, what you have to do to get it is a different thing, and that's part of the whole relationship thing, and being out there and letting people know we have need and that's time, which, you know, someone in the part-time capacity doesn't necessarily have time to focus on seeking something new while they're trying to maintain what's there, again, all of those constraints, but we're gonna have to focus on that, because that's how they got to where they are, that's how they all implemented their projects, and that's what we're gonna have to do to go bigger beyond what we
Well, that's how
sustain
we
at
got-
this point as well.
That's how we got the grants to do the streetscape, the pedestrian
Yeah.
islands. So we do know about grants, but it is, some of the other grants, the smaller ones too, you have to have put in a percentage. We put a lot of work into trying to get a grant to make improvements in the southeast parking lot, to make a real gathering area there maybe, but a lot of work went in, a lot of planning went into that, because Oakland County was trying to get a grant from MEDC and hoping that if we put a grant package together with all of the communities together as one big ask, that we would get a good amount of money. And it fell through, we didn't get it. Oakland County put more money towards it, but it still was way over what we could, our portion that we were gonna have to put in was still just our entire yearly budget plus. So it was like, okay, well that. So we are looking at them and trying. It's the matching money sometimes that's like, well, can't even, but we look for the smaller ones. There's another one out right now that we're gonna be looking at, Blooms for America. So any grant opportunities, Main Street,
And that is one
National
of the
Main
things that
Street.
Joan finds out when she goes to the managers meeting is what's out there and where she can get it. So we have an effective network of people looking for opportunities for us.
Yeah, National Main Street will also let you know on some of the bigger gets that are out there and things, so. Always looking, always open to getting free money.
Which isn't usually free.
It's not free, it's
Comes
part
with the
of
price.
it, yeah.
So that is kind of our planning for what we need to approach and accomplish in the next year and going forward. The search is going to start right away. We'll get the information to Kelly immediately about our events to make things easy for her. For the members of our board, we've just sent, board elections are in 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks. We've sent a list of everybody's responsibilities, board members, as well as the executive board, vice president, the chair, whatever we are. I would encourage all of you to read those to see what is expected from each person so that we can make an informed decision when we do vote. I would also like everybody to start thinking about where our board members want to volunteer and where you think your talents will be best used on these projects.
I didn't see there's a lot of people, I might have missed it, but I did not see a description for the treasurer, but there is a description in the bylaws. So just in case anyone else was looking for that.
Okay, I must have, they sent so many documents. I'll get that one, it's in here. There's actually a whole toolkit that was put together many years ago with all the job descriptions and the bylaws and all of the papers relevant to the DDA. So I'll pull that out, copy of the treasurer one, just missed it.
So from the members of the audience, do we have anything that we can answer for you, or we're delighted that you're here?
I think we're just here to show our support and lend whatever resources we have whenever necessary to make sure the DDA can continue moving forward.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to add to our planning meeting? Thank you all for joining us. See you in 2 weeks.
Marty, when are you available?